people on. This is Bekah.
Hi.
Hi, Beck. I'm trying to get Ann and Mac on too. They're having.
Mac was just calling me. I was running around because we're outside in my backyard, and I was like running around to the neighbors, like because there was something going on. And then he was calling me, like, I don't see the registration info. I was like, well, you had to like register online. So,
I know. I sent it all to them, so hopefully they're going to get it.
Yeah, I just texted Mac.
Oh, good. And I've got a girlfriend up in Northern California that's going to get on too. That came actually. I think you might have met her when Ann and Mac had. The tasting at Brasswood like a year ago, fall or 2 years ago, whenever that was, when we were all there. Anyway, she came up and ordered some wine, and they're going to be on too.
Awesome, great. Thanks for passing it along. And then
Absolutely.
hi, Leanne. I'm gonna mute you back, Diane.
I'm muting myself.
Oh, we can. Okay, good.
And can you guys hear us okay? Does that volume-wise, does it work okay?
I'll see.
Yeah,
Do this.
absolutely.
Okay, great.
All right. I'm gonna move over this. Where is my cursor? I can't even see where my cursor is because I was just gonna move the chat thing over
Oh.
because everybody's lining up, but I can't even see where my cursor is because it's too bright out here. So I think we're just gonna have to. It's gonna be a technical difficulty we're gonna have to live with. So just have to wait for everybody.
Yeah.
It's good. Everybody's.
People will.
Yeah, we'll
join.
probably get started about 5 after, just allowing enough people to get on. We're really excited. We have at least like 20 or so people who are joining today, so we'll give them a little bit of time to join us. Did I get it?
I hope everyone's doing well and has something in your glass as well at home.
Yeah, maybe a parallel, maybe a Purlieu.
It's about that time, right?
Yeah, whatever time zone. It's Sunday, so.
So it looks awful green there.
Yeah, so this is my backyard. This was the setting that we came up with. So yeah, green. I don't have any. Just the big.
And it's white here.
We can show you some snow.
They're in Idaho.
Great. Yeah.
They're in Idaho.
Yeah, it turned out to be a little overcast,
Yeah.
but beautiful day here in Napa. It's what 65-ish, roughly.
Yeah,
So,
a little chilly with the overcast, but
Tell them what you're drinking.
it's bright enough. So, let's see, there's 6. Oh, there's Kirsten as probably. She's works with our PR firm. That's all. Yeah.
It's great to see so many faces, and we're doing our best to connect with everybody. This has been a really creative idea that Adrienne came up with, so we're really honored to be a part of the very first Sunday Live tasting event.
Yeah.
There will be more to come. We're doing our best also to maintain social distancing, keeping our glasses at this end and not getting too close to each other, although we've both been in full quarantine for weeks now.
Yeah.
And are doing just fine here in Napa as well. So.
Oh, good. Diane says they're drinking Parallel. I imagine that Leanne and Tom are drinking some Parallel. Yeah, that would be hard to see the cat feature.
We have an 07 cab.
07.
Of the Parallel cab or the estate?
No, the parallel cab.
Yeah, I had that. I drank that I was tasting the 7 and the 9 because I'm also running out of those vintages. And
yeah, this is the only bottle I had. So
I think I have a couple cases left, but 6. Oh, there's Mac. You got it. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
It's going to be hard for us to see because the computer's back a little bit. It's going to be hard to see everyone at once. So for those of you that are just signing in, hello and welcome. And I am Bekah with Purlieu Wines. And this is Adrienne's backyard that we're in today. And
Welcome to Napa.
We're excited to try the wines. Some two wines that we have not tasted side by side in this format previously. So you guys are in for a treat today. And we're just trying to soak up, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And this was an excuse for me to get away from my little ones at home. So I am in heaven right now.
Being in my backyard.
Yeah, this is heaven. Great.
Yeah, I think we'll wait. I'm just going to wait like another minute and then we'll get started. I'm sure that people will come on as they, I sent an email reminder out about 2 hours ago. So hoping that people will remember to click in. So we'll just wait going to wait another minute. We'll get started.
One more minute.
Yeah. See if we get a few more people on. Hoping that will. Have you unmuted yourself, Mac? No.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. No, I said that a lot of us are electronically impaired. When it comes to Zoom, it's a whole new thing. Everybody's saying, hit the thing on the right, hit the thing on the left, over in the corner. Half the fun of Zoom is trying to master it.
Right.
Diane, is she in there yet? Because she is a master at it.
Oh, Diane, yes, she is.
Yeah.
She is. So, well, why don't we get started and then people will just join as they come along. So, Bekah already sort of introduced, but this is the first Purlieu Wines Sunday live tasting. Just thought it would be fun every week to taste one of Purlieu wines that we just have a few cases left, and then bring a colleague from another winery on to do the same, to kind of give people exclusive access to some Napa wines that aren't for sale because we aren't for sale online or in the tasting room because we just only have a couple cases left. So I'll be doing this each Sunday at 2 o'clock Pacific time. So stay tuned for next week. Well, I'll be doing another one of these with another winery. Just a few housekeeping notes. So I am recording this because I would love to put it up on our website so that people can kind of see what we're up to. And you all can unmute yourself, but you came in and you were muted, so that once we get, with everybody on, we're all not talking over each other. But you can feel free to use the chat feature down in the bottom. I think it's like the third from the left. It says chat. You can open up the box and put any questions or comments you want in there. So, let's get started. So, Bekah, why don't you introduce yourself again and talk a little bit about Purlieu for those who are
great. Yes.
new to the brand.
Some of you I've met and others I've not in person. So wonderful to be here for the first ever Sunday live Purlieu tasting. It's really exciting to be the first guest here. My name is Bekah, or Bekah Burns, and I've been with Purlieu now for about 2 years. Our winemaker Julien Fayard has a long history with Philippe Melka, who you all know and love, and so this was a kind of a blending of two friends, two French winemakers, and same vintage. So we pulled out both 2012s for you all today. Very limited production. We made about 200 cases in total, and Julien has been the only winemaker for Purlieu. We started making wine in 2009, and our first ever vintage was from a tiny little vineyard in Coombsville called the Tousseur Vineyard, which is actually our namesake. Purlieu means the edge of the forest, and so in 2009, when we began making our first cab, Coombsville still wasn't an official AVA, wouldn't become one for another few years. So it felt very much like the edge of Napa to Julien, and still does for a lot of us. And so Purlieu means edge of the forest. The Tousseur vineyard that we was our inaugural wine, is what we're named after. So very near and dear to our heart. We used to own that property. We've since sold it, but with contract, we still have access to fruit. So nothing has changed in terms of winemaking style or approach from the Tousseur vineyard. And for Julien, I think in hearing him talk about it, it's Coombsville is very near and dear to his heart. So we're excited to bring these two next to each other and I think in terms of just the connecting piece of how we even became, we've been friends for a while, but colleagues in this way is so exciting to have winemakers that share a common vision, if you will, although the wines are very distinct and very unique on their own, have worked together in the past and are good friends now today. So it's fun to showcase them side by side. So thanks for having me.
Yeah. When I mentioned this to, and Mac, I don't know if you've unmuted yourself and you want to comment, but Julien was actually the director of winemaking for Philippe when Philippe first arrived. And Purlieu was one of Philippe's first clients. So I think for the first 2 or 3 years, Julien actually made Purlieu.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know
We like to kid him.
Connection.
Yeah, he did all the work and Philippe took the credit.
Well, as it usually goes with winemakers and their winemaking team. So, okay, well, we have just like 30 minutes that we're going to be on here today. So I think we should just jump into the tasting. So we've poured sort of the bottles. Well, I think I don't know how you all are seeing it backwards.
Yeah.
For us, it's right, left. So why don't we start with the Purlieu, which we have.
I poured it. Sorry, I did it backwards. I poured yours in the stem, so we'll go this way.
All right, we'll start here with the stem. All right, so this is 2012 Purlieu Napa Valley Cabernet. And for those of you that are fans of Napa Valley, already know that 2012 was one of those classic, perfect vintages where everything, the weather throughout the year was just developed beautifully, and we had just amazing fruit. So this is actually, so we make 100% varietals, and this is but a blend of numerous cab properties, actually 9 properties when I looked back at the harvest reports, and the bulk of it coming from Yountville, but numerous cab properties all over the valley. And this is we make 2 Cabernets, and this one tends to be the more medium-bodied, very fruit-forward, soft, approachable, food-friendly Cabernet. So I would imagine, I haven't tasted this in a number of months, but, just on the nose, very, like, to me, raspberries, blueberries, super, like, yummy. Yeah. It's really delicious. A lot of cherry, like the meat's like super fresh cherries. It's really delicious.
The tannins are so soft and subtle too. I mean, they're there. They're certainly there front to finish, but it's just. 2012 was a phenomenal vintage in general. But seeing that fruit kind of settle in right in balance with the tannins, it's soft. It's delicate, and I think Yountville, sure.
Yeah. So I was also just going to take a few seconds here, since Bekah had explained a little bit about the background about Purlieu. For those of you who are not familiar with Purlieu, gave you a little bit of background there, and that Julien was making actually Purlieu in the first few years. But Purlieu was started by 4 couples based out of Park City, Utah. There's Mac being one of those 8 owners there on the call with us, calling from Park City. Purlieu refers to skiing. Even the label is meant to look like everybody's sort of cutting through the first run of the day, those ski tracks. First vintage was 2003. And now we're on to, this is our 21st year. Still continuing with Philippe Melka as our winemaker. As I mentioned, he was we were one of his first clients, and now he's rock star, making wine for like over 30 brands, like globally at this point. We make 1 Chardonnay, 2 Cabernets, very, very small production, just 600 cases is our total annual production for the year. And so these are all really small. Back then in 2012, I was actually really surprised. This was, the production was 800 cases. We're making about 400 cases of this Cabernet now. So that was a big vintage for us, but just a few cases left because it was such a stellar growing year that, people were, 12 is one of those sought after Napa Valley vintages for sure.
Absolutely. I feel a little bad that you guys can't taste this right now with us.
At least some of you all have some Purlieu that you're drinking, but other vintages. But
I think one of the we're talking about which wines we would bring to the table was how do we make this interesting for you all at home? Since we don't have our physical doors open, we're all having to get a little creative. Not all
in my backyard.
Not all of us hold a ton of library wines because we're so small in our production in general. Often we sell out. Certainly single vineyards are selling out. So the fact that we do have 2 cases of both of these wines was interesting to the 2 of us being in the industry to go, let's go back and taste something that's been laying a few years in the cellar. How are these resonating with folks at home? A lot of you have 12 in your cellar from numerous producers. So talking about how wines are tasting now is a lot of the questions that we get on this end of the industry, right? Like, when do I open the wines I have? I would say this is a wine to open now.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. It will continue to age very nicely. We've had it in the glass for maybe,
about a half an hour.
Half an hour. It's opened up really well in a half an hour, and I think we'll continue to do so. So it's fun to bring a little something different to the table.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to move on to the Purlieu, same vintage, but this is a single vineyard Cabernet. So comparing a collaboration of 9 vineyards coming together and then a single one all the way down in Coombsville. So I'm really excited to move on if you want to introduce it.
Sure. Yeah. So the wine that I brought today to share and talk about is our 2012 Tusar. So the vineyard that we are named after. Again, we don't hold a lot of inventory, so I do have 2 cases of this left that we set aside. 100% cab from Coombsville. The vineyard sits at sort of a southeastern, I guess would be the aspect of the vineyard. So you get that beautiful marine layer from the bay that settles in right in the bowl of Coombsville. It's also very high in volcanic ash, which, as you all know, is not uncommon in Napa, but that combined with having a little cooler climate, being so far south, gives us a longer hang time typically on the vines than you have further up valley. Which, we do a couple single vineyards from Oakville, Rutherford as well. So this, having that 100% cab from Tusar, 100% Coombsville cab is a great addition into the portfolio in the sense that you get that ripe red fruit a lot of times from valley floor, and then this wine will bring in some deeper notes, some darker fruit, a lot of blackberry, some in the 12. The tannins have also softened a little bit. A lot of times when we release Tusar, it's one of those wines where I'm like, hang on to it for a year, and if you're going to open it tonight, open it early. It's a big one. It'll get you the tannin structure right away. So the 12 has settled in really nicely in that regard.
Yeah, it's definitely black fruit driven.
Yeah.
But I mean, comparing this, side by side with Carol, the tannins, it's still got real big structure to it for sure, which is delicious. I love the back and forth, of course.
Absolutely.
A little bit more up valley fruit, down valley fruit, like you're saying, more volcanic ash. Really, really still structured. A little bit smoothed out, but still, and maybe it's just because it's back to back, and this is really meant to be a more medium bodied Cabernet, but wow, the tannins are big.
Yeah, they're there.
So,
They're there. They say hello.
They're not being shy.
And I think that's a kind of a staple from Coombsville too, is that in terms of, I think both Philippe and Julien creating wines that have a lot of ageability to them, certainly to be enjoyed now, and we release quite young. We already have 17s out, so
we do too.
Yeah, you guys do too.
Yeah.
So to be able to lay it down and know what you're gonna taste in a few years is also really valuable.
Yeah. Absolutely delicious. But still, I think similarly, really red fruit. I taste a lot of cherries in this as well. So that is definitely a similarity. But you can definitely tell. It would be really fun if we had a third wine here that wasn't like a French style. Yeah. To see how they would compare, like a 12 that was, an American winemaker, just to see. But they definitely both taste very French in style, which of course it's going to be
exactly. And so you guys will get the benefit. I'll have to tune in for the future ones to.
I know, to see that. Yeah, you're going to have all kinds of.
It's going to be really fun.
Yeah. So we mentioned that that we were going to be featuring about to sell out wines, and I think kind of in conversation we both mentioned we both have 2 cases each of these. So we were going to put together a 4-pack with 2 bottles of each wine and a 6-pack. And then So for the 4-pack together, so 2 bottles of the Purlieu Tercer and 2 bottles of the Parallel Cabernet for $700, and then the 6-pack was 3 bottles of each for $1,050. So we don't have a lot of those to sell. We only have 12 4-packs and 8 6-packs. I mean, it's not a lot of wine to sell. And so we were going to offer 2-day shipping for $30 flat anywhere. I know that I've already been getting messages from buyers and club members in Florida and Texas and Arizona that it's heating up. So 2-day shipping, I think, is the way to go already for a lot of states. And so we're going to be offering those 2 different 4-pack and 6-pack on a first come, first served basis. After we finish this call today, I will send out an email like I did for the reminder where BCC everybody, and we'll just give you all the information about the 2 different packs, the pricing, the shipping discount, and then all of the email will you'll contact Bekah in order to put in your order for these. And so I can't really see. I was going to see if there was any questions there. It's like in the corner, and now the sun comes out, of course, so I can't read what all the comments are in the corner. So, we're talking about
one thing. Can I say one thing quickly too? This is not something that we typically do, shipping labels all together, but this is something that we're going to do. For you all. So I'm going to be compiling all of the wines and sending them directly to you if that's something that you're interested in. So we didn't want to have, we know that you're already receiving a lot at home these days, so making one package was really appealing. So we'll make it
I think
easy if that's something that you're wanting. So
yes, I think that that was the key, was just to make it really easy.
Simple.
Put it together in one pack and send it out in one shipment. So let me go back. I may
just drink them all. I
know.
I don't know if anyone
2 cases. I don't know. How long are we going to be quarantined? Which one? Sorry, I'm getting really close to the, now that the sun is out. Somebody was just asking a question about how
you
Parallel.
Read them to you?
Yeah.
I'll read them to you because these are going to be all for you. So.
I think there was a question about how Parallel has evolved. This is our 21st year and how our grape sourcing has evolved. So a lot of you who follow Parallel know that we first started back in 1999 when those 4 couples purchased 60 plus acres of property up in St. Helena, about 16 of which was planted to Cabernet. That property was sold in 2011. And so by then, Philippe had made enough of a name for himself that they were not concerned about grape quality and sourcing fruit. So initially from the estate, so this 2012 would have been the first year that it was sourced. So as I mentioned earlier when I was introducing it, 9 vineyards from across Napa Valley, the bulk of which coming from Yountville. But our more current vintages are coming from Rutherford and Oakville for the Cabernet. And then Chardonnay has pretty much been from the Russian River, although we are just about to tomorrow release our 2018 Napa Valley Chardonnay. And we're going back to Napa Valley. So the very first year we did Chardonnay was in 2007, and that was sourced from Napa Valley. So this is our 10th vintage of Chardonnay, the 2018. So for 1 year, we're going back to Napa Valley to sort of commemorate that 10th vintage. So that's about to release tomorrow. So the wine club members and buyers will be getting that tomorrow. It's pre-sold out. So we're already going to be moving on to selling futures into the 2019 vintage. But at this point, Cabernet is coming from the Rutherford and Oakville AVAs. So, and then
that's a great question.
Yeah. And I can't see if there's any other questions.
Here, let's see.
I
can do this.
Else. I know this is the tricky part.
No, that's it. I mean, if anyone has questions, feel free to enter them into the chat for Julie. I'll read them to her.
But while we just have just a few minutes left too, so I'll be doing another one of these Sunday live tastings, probably again in my backyard. Maybe we'll find a more shady spot, so not like the sun is in my eyes. Hopefully with another winery. So you'll see that to be announced this week, who the special guest will be for next Sunday at 2 o'clock to the same time. You can find out all kinds of information about how we're doing everything online these days. So the Sunday live tastings, I'm also doing private by appointment, private online tastings by appointment, and you can find out information there. as well as I've been doing, so for those who want to buy the bottle and just sort of do a tasting on demand, I've done a few short videos with the different vintages, and all of that information is on our website at parallelwines.com, and you just click on the link Meet Us Online, and all of that, all those ways to be able to connect with us online are there. So I know that Bekah is going to be doing some, you did a tasting yesterday with Julien.
Yeah.
And they're going to be doing that again.
We are, I think with everyone getting a little creative, we've not done virtual tastings. We did one yesterday for the first time. It was kind of a Q&A with our winemaker, Julien. And so we had such a great response that we've opened up next Saturday as well. I don't know how many of those we'll do, but we're going to do one at 1 p.m. this coming Saturday. And for everyone that's on, I know some of you were more familiar with Parallel, others of you familiar with both of us, and then some of you have been Purlieu on our mailing list. So what we're going to do is just make sure that everybody's on both lists, so you'll get an invitation for any of the upcoming things that we have going on. But I do want to highlight Adrienne's videos on the website. They're so fun to watch. They're really great. And I think
Try to make it a little fun.
It's been great
silly.
to watch those. So I think what you're doing is wonderful and super creative. So kudos to you.
Oh, thank you. Trying to be creative in these like interesting times where
I know.
just put a backdrop in my home office and away we go.
And away we go.
So, well, thanks so much for everybody for joining. We will, as I mentioned, send out an email within the next like 15 minutes, just highlighting the offer again and the shipping discount and how you would put in your order with Bekah and just more about the shipping information as well. So, I think maybe I can't see if one more question there.
Oh, here.
Or there's a comment. And
I don't have my
maybe
glasses today. Oh, how sustainable is your operation? From Terry.
Do you...
In terms of like COVID, or in terms of
No. Well, thankfully wineries are deemed essential, so winemaking is still happening.
We're all essential.
I know.
Anyone who is sheltering in place knows that that's true. So
yeah, I would have to look back specifically at harvest reports in order to, since we're sourcing from multiple vineyards, that to understand. But super high quality. All of our fruit comes from Bexoffer and Renteria, so highest quality fruit in Napa Valley that I would imagine would have, I'm not sure organic, but sustainable practices.
Yes.
And so, but for specifics, I would have to go back to some harvest reports, which I'm happy to do if people are interested in learning more.
Yeah.
All right.
Great question.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up, and we will send an email out shortly with those offers. And then if there are any other, both of our contact information is on there. So we'll look forward to connecting with all of you.
So fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adrienne.
Cheers. Cheers.
Hey,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
enjoy the day.
Thanks for joining.
Chin chin.
Chin chin.
Oh my gosh, I can't even see my